Ravens Nation, the truth has finally come out. Eric DeCosta, the Ravens GM, has broken his silence and talked about Derrick Henry's future and what he said could change everything. After an incredible season where Henry proved to be more dominant than ever, the big question is, will the Ravens extend the king of the run game or let him go? What DeCosta revealed makes it clear that this decision will directly impact the team's future, and you need to know everything. Now, the big question is, how will the Ravens handle this situation? Will they lock in Henry for the long haul and keep this unstoppable offense rolling? Or is a shocking twist coming that could completely change our team's direction? Stick with me until the end to understand what DeCosta's statement really means for the Ravens' future. Go Ravens! Ravens Nation, think about this. How often do we see a player come in and immediately dominate in their first year? That's exactly what happened with Derrick Henry when Eric DeCosta signed him to a 2-year, $16 million deal. Many people doubted if it was worth it. After all, Henry was approaching 30, and we all know that running backs tend to decline at that age. But Henry is not just any player. Not only did he silence the critics, but he played at an insane level, finishing the season as the NFL leader in rushing touchdowns and nearly 2,000 rushing yards. He wasn't just an addition to the offense. He became the heart of it. His chemistry with Lamar Jackson was absolutely perfect. With Henry in the backfield, opposing defenses were completely lost. If they stacked the box to stop him, Lamar found space to run or throw. If they focus on the passing game, Henry bulldozed through everyone. We already had a strong running attack, but with him, it became nearly unstoppable. His power, explosiveness, and intelligence turned the Ravens' ground game into a nightmare for defenses. What was once an offense centered on Lamar's individual brilliance became a fully operational machine. And the most impressive part? Henry's impact wasn't just on the field. He brought a winning mentality, an insane level of professionalism, and a leadership presence that made everyone around him better. He didn't come just to run the ball. He came to change the team. Young players started training harder, learning from him, and understanding what it takes to dominate in the NFL. And in the end, that's what makes a difference for a team that wants to win championships. But now comes the big question. He only has 1 year left on his contract, and after playing at such a high level, he will likely want a new deal. DeCosta has already made it clear that he wants Henry for the long term, but will the Ravens be willing to pay him what he deserves? This leads us to a crucial point. Henry has become so essential to the offense that Baltimore now has to decide how much they're willing to invest in him. Ravens Nation, when was the last time we had a running back who completely changed the game? Derrick Henry isn't just a big, powerful back. He's a piece that has completely transformed the offense. Before he arrived, the Ravens' ground attack relied on Lamar Jackson's dynamic playmaking and a rotation of running backs who did a good job but weren't dominant. With Henry's arrival, Baltimore found an unstoppable force in the backfield, someone who could carry the team when needed. That took a huge load off Lamar's shoulders and allowed the offense to function in a more balanced and efficient way. And it wasn't just on paper. On the field, Henry's presence made the Ravens play differently. Defenses that once focused on containing Lamar's runs now had to choose between stopping Henry or our quarterback. And honestly, that's a nightmare for any defensive coordinator. Linebackers were forced to play closer to the line of scrimmage to deal with the freight train known as Derrick Henry, opening up passing lanes and making play-action plays even deadlier. The result? A much more unpredictable, hard-to-defend offense that was ready to compete at the highest level. Beyond that, his consistency helped the team control the clock and dictate the tempo of game. When a team can run the ball effectively, it keeps the opposing defense on the field longer, wears them down, and reduces the chances of comebacks. Henry didn't just dominate early in game. He was still bulldozing defenders in the fourth quarter when they were already exhausted. That made a huge difference in close game, especially during critical moments in the season. Having a running back like that means the Ravens can play their game without being forced to adjust to the opponent's style. But now, the reality is setting in. Henry only has 1 year left on his contract, and when a player becomes this essential, he's going to want an extension. And that's exactly what's already being discussed in Baltimore, with Eric DeCosta making it clear that he wants Derrick Henry to stay longer. We all know how things work in the NFL, right? Ravens Nation, when a player has a massive impact on a team, he's going to want to be rewarded. And Derrick Henry, after what he did last season, is no exception. He still has 1 year left on his contract, but it's obvious that he won't want to wait until the last minute to sort out his future. Running backs have shorter careers, so securing financial stability makes total sense for him. The most interesting part? Eric DeCosta has already hinted that he wants the same. When asked about Henry, he gave an answer that left everything open-ended, even mentioning that a picture of the running back will be going up in his office. It might sound like a joke, but in the NFL, every word from a GM carries weight. What we do know is that the Ravens recognize Henry's importance. DeCosta praised everything about him: his professionalism, work ethic, leadership, and of course, his insane talent. That shows that it's not just about what he does on the field, but also about his impact in the locker room. And when a player fits so well in every way, teams usually do whatever it takes to keep him. The question is, how much are the Ravens willing to pay? The franchise's history with running back extensions isn't exactly great, as the position tends to have a lot of turnover, but Henry might be an exception. Another factor that could influence this extension is Lamar Jackson himself. The league MVP thrives in an offense with a strong running game, and keeping Henry would directly help his success. The Ravens know this and likely don't want to mess with something that's already working so well. The question is whether they can structure a contract that makes sense for both sides without hurting the team's financial future. Either way, this extension could shape the offense for years to come. But there's one thing that can't be ignored. Henry is already 30, and that raises concerns about durability and long-term performance. All right, we're past the halfway point of this video, but I just noticed you haven't left your like yet. This is super important, so YouTube continues to show you my content, and that way I can keep bringing you the best Ravens updates. So go ahead and drop a like. It's free. Thanks. Now let's keep going. Here's the dilemma. Ravens Nation. Derrick Henry is a beast, but time always wins. Running backs take a lot of wear and tear over the years, and few can maintain the same level after turning 30. We know Henry is a special case. He's an exceptional athlete, a true wrecking machine, but NFL statistics don't lie. Most RBs who pass this age start to decline, whether due to injuries or a loss of explosiveness. So the big question is, can Henry defy this trend for a few more years? The Ravens seem to believe so. DeCosta's already stated that Henry takes care of his body like few players in the league. The guy has an insane training and recovery routine, which explains why he still runs like he's in his prime. But that doesn't mean the risk isn't there. When a team invests heavily in a veteran running back, they need to be certain that the player will continue delivering at a high level. A long or expensive contract could become a problem if his performance drops. On the bright side, Henry has never been a player who relies solely on speed. His physical running style allows him to remain extremely effective even if he loses some explosiveness. If the Ravens can structure a contract with protections against a potential decline in production, this extension could be well worth it. But it's still a gamble. Keeping a veteran running back is always a risk, and Baltimore must decide whether it's worth betting on Henry for more years, or if it's better to start preparing a replacement. Whatever the decision, it will shape the future of the offense. And if Henry stays, the Ravens will have a unique opportunity to solidify one of the most explosive duos in the NFL. Henry and Lamar Jackson together for even longer. Now, let's think big, Ravens Nation. What if Derrick Henry extends his contract and stays for more years? The offense was already dominant last season, and with more time together, he and Lamar could take this team to another level. Their chemistry will only improve, and the Ravens can keep developing an offensive system that is already one of the hardest to stop in the NFL. Having a dual-threat quarterback and such a dominant running back on the same team is a rare privilege. This keeps Baltimore in title contention every year. Keeping Henry would also expand the playbook even further. The Ravens have already shown they can be unpredictable with him on the field. But imagine an even more refined attack, with new plays maximizing the duo's power. The impact goes far beyond stats. Henry forces defenses to load the box, creating more opportunities for Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, and the rest of the receiving core. The balance between the run and pass could reach a perfect level. Of course, it all comes down to contract negotiation. But if DeCosta can secure a deal that makes sense for both sides, the Ravens will be locking in a few more years of offensive dominance. Henry's time in the league may be limited, but as long as he's playing at this level, the Ravens need to capitalize on it. Now, the big question is, will the team make the right move and keep Henry long-term, or is there still an unexpected twist waiting to unfold? Ravens Nation, now you know exactly what's at stake. Eric DeCosta made it clear that Derrick Henry has been a key piece of the team and that the Ravens have a strong interest in keeping him. The question is, extending a veteran running back is always a risk, but Henry has proven he still has plenty of gas left in the tank. With the impact he's had on the offense and his chemistry with Lamar Jackson, keeping this monster could be the key to continued dominance in the NFL. Now I want to hear from you. Should the Ravens extend Derrick Henry and secure this offensive powerhouse for years to come? Or is it better to move in a different direction and find a replacement? Drop your thoughts in the comment. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates on our Baltimore Ravens. See you next time.